Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. About 4 months ago, I put together this. Its initial intent was to be a sorting crate for all the different kinds of caulking, glues, WD-40, all that sort of stuff that I need to bring to a job site so I can see at a glance what I have and if a tube is getting low or whatever, and I can replace it like that particular one is right there. As you can see, I've used it quite a bit. You can see lots of paint on it and nicks and scratches, and it's actually been very, very useful. And I find that not only do I use it to hold, well, just the caulking tubes, I also throw in anything that's fairly narrow, like crowbars. There's a wire brush in there, garbage bags, and then on top of that, I throw rolls of tape that I can keep them slightly out of the way so they don't get banged up too much. And well, basically, it is proven to be really, really useful. The only thing I don't like about it is I need to use two hands to carry it around because I put those two blocks on the sides initially. It's easy to carry, but that means I need to take multiple trips. I can't hold it in one hand and a toolbox in the other hand, and cut down the amount of trips I need to make for taking all the stuff out of my vehicle and taking it to the job site. Anyway, it is a small complaint, but it is one that has actually been bothering me, believe it or not. So what I want to do is I want to make a simple handle that swivels. It's going to be a dowel in the center. It's going to have two arms going down to the sides, and that way I can fold it down out of the way when it is in my vehicle, and I can, again, easily check to see what kind of caulking I have, what I need, and all that sort of stuff. And then when I need to carry it, I just flip it up and pick it up with one hand. And like I said, it's not that big a deal, but to me it is, saves a bit of time, and I think it'll be a lot more convenient. And that's one of the things I like to do when I build things is try stuff out for a while and see what I like and don't like about it. In this particular case, it's just a very minor little adjustment, and it won't take that long to put together. So I am building this handle out of a nice piece of hardwood doweling, and this is poplar. It's a very light hardwood, which is probably the probably right at the margin between hardwood and softwood, but I find it's really quite useful, and it's more than strong enough for this, and it's not going to add any real weight to something that already has a fair amount of stuff in it. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to cut these down to the right stripping size. And by the way, I really find this little guide really useful. It prevents splinters from popping up into my face, and also allows me to put my hand on top of it to hold these relatively thin things down and secure, and keeps my fingers out of the way. So this is going to be the doweling. It's 1 inch. It's hardwood dowel, and I'm really not going to do a whole lot with this. I'm trying to be reasonably accurate here with the cut, but because it's going to be dowel and I can easily put it in the lathe and trim off very tiny amounts, I put a little bit extra on it just so that I can make those minor adjustments later on. It's easy to take off, hard to put back on. So there you go. That's the way it's going to be. Of course, it's going to be in the center. So I'm going to just clamp these in place. I'm going to make them all 1 inch holes. The nice thing about this particular drill bit, it is very precise at 1 inch. I did a test drill on a piece of poplar, and I found it really a good friction fit for those dowels, which is really unusual because sometimes dowels can be less than accurate, let's say, for their actual overall diameter, but these ones are pretty good. So I'm going to cut 4 holes. There's going to be 2 at the top, which that dowel is going to fit into, and then there's going to be 2 at the bottom, which I am going to make plugs for that are going to be inserted into the bottom part of the box, the top part of the box, but at the bottom of these arms, and that way I can swivel them around. So that's what it's going to look like. These haven't been glued yet. They're just put in friction fit. These are going to slide down here, and that's where the 2 plugs are going to go on either side, and this is going to swivel like this. So yeah, it's very straightforward, and like I said, it's not a relatively easy build. Now I had to do a little bit of math to figure out where to put the holes in the sides so that it swiveled properly. Not a big deal. The other thing is I need to now make the 2 plugs for either side. I don't want to glue these in place because, well, I really like that box, and I don't really want to have to bang it up to get these off. So I'm going to make these definitely a friction fit. So a friction fit as far as getting into the side of the box, and then of course a much looser fit for going around the two arms, because I want them to swivel, but I don't want these I don't want the arms to pop off. I don't want to be walking halfway to a job site and have the handle fall off, and if, it would just first off make a mess and be annoying, and then probably would break the sides of the box. And like I said, I don't want to do any of that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pare this down just a little bit to get rid of the varnish that's on this particular piece of hardwood dowel. This one's about 1.25 inches, so it's going to make two really nice, good, solid, firm lips for keeping the arms from falling off. And this is the depth I want to mark it at. So what it is including not quite 1/2 inch for the thickness of the actual box, because I'm not going to drill all the way through, and 1/2 inch for the actual arms themselves, and a little bit extra because, like I said, it's easy to shave these down once I do some test fits. And I marked a couple of them on here, so when it starts to spin, you can see it almost forms a line. And that's going to just shave this down to, well, just a little over 1 inch initially. And then I'm going to do some test fits. I want it to be relatively snug for the insert hole, and then I'm going to do a bit of sanding and take it down so that the arms actually swivel on it. It was a bit of finicky work, but it wasn't really that long as far as time goes. So I got it pulled down because, this is a metal cutting lathe, so it is very good at removing bits from wood. The only problem I find is it's not speedy enough. It is designed for cutting metal, which you can't do very, very quickly. So it does tend to not cut as well, but as you see, that's before sanding, so it's not so bad. So I'm going to put these holes in, basically centered, and it turned out to be almost exactly 1 inch from the top, and this is a 1 inch bit, so we're going to have about a 1/2 inch lip. This is hardwood ply, so it's not a big deal for that. And I'm going to, as I said, not drill all the way through because I don't want any blowout on the other side. This is a box used for a job. As you can see, it's banged up and it's scratched and everything, but there's no point in starting off these things looking a little rough to begin with, so I want it to look as nice as possible. And having those splinterings on the inside when you get the blowout, it is unsightly, and I'm just going to avoid that. So I'm going to go, nice thing about this particular Forstner bit is when that top of that is just about flush with the box, I am just about ready to pop through the bottom. So I'm going to stop just short there, make sure I put my hand underneath and feel. Once it's just about to pop through, you can feel a little bit of a pressure point where the tip of the Forstner bit is beginning to force its way through, and that's it. That's all I need to do. Pop another one on the other side, and there you go. It's mostly done at this point. I just need to glue the handles so that I want the actual dowel for where the handles is glued onto the arms to keep everything nice and straight. And then the next thing I need to do, of course, is just do a test fit here, and then I want to put a bit of oil on them to make sure that we have a nice waterproof finish. Really, and it's not really to make it look any nicer, but it does make it last a lot longer. I found that when I work with these that the oil is actually really good. It protects the wood. I haven't tried sanding off the paint that this thing has got on it over the summer, but I am going to see how difficult it is to refinish these things. I think it'll work out pretty good because there's no real stain involved. It's just a simple matter of sanding down a bit of paint or whatever, and then just reapplying oil. So this is the jig I made. I want not to have those ugly square corners you see there. This is just a test piece. I wanted to see how far I needed to put down where all the measurements from distance, so I get a nice curve on here and not be too close to where the actual hole goes through. So I tested that out a little bit, fiddled around with it somewhat, and I came up with this. So this is my mill, and again, this mill is not the same as having like a router for a table, which spins at very high speed. This is much lower, so I have to hang on pretty tight. And I was thinking that maybe it would not give a nice finish, but as you're going to see here in a few moments, I didn't really have to do a whole lot of sanding to get this down to nice and well, so it looks nice. Another easy way of doing it I could have done was I could have taken these, put some round object like a well, I actually could use one of the caulking tubes, and then I can pencil a line there, bring it over to the bandsaw, trim that as close as I can, and then sand that down. I wanted to try this out. Like I said, most of what I do here is mostly experimental and just stuff I do for fun anyway. And like I said, it's just trying things to make things look reasonable, but the end result is not to take too much time and have something that is functional. So I'm going to rub some oil on this, a couple coats, then I'm going to put this all together and show you what it looks like. It turned out really quite well. I'm very happy with it. I have since been using this, and I mean, this is obviously kind of like a pet peeve kind of thing where I have to use two hands to hold something, but this is much better. I don't have to do that now. I pick this up with one hand, pick up my whatever toolbox or drill case in the other one, and yeah, one less strip. As I said, these are friction fit, just tapping them into place and making sure that everything is snug. And like I said, I've only been using it for about a week now, but I've been finding that it, like I said, it works really, well, more than good enough for what I need. So there you go. Now what I'm going to do is load this sucker up. One thing I noticed is, like, see, that goes all the way down. There's a bit of a difference. I don't think I quite got the center mark for the box. It balances well, so it might be something else. I'm not sure. But anyway, it goes all the way down on that side. Oh, yeah, that's another thing I noticed. The caulking gun is a little long, but all I'm going to do is stick it on the end. It's out of the way. And yeah, actually, I like how this, like I said, I like how this turned out. It is something that's quite functional. And I'll let you know in a few months. And that's actually reminds me. I also want to do some updates, some other stuff I put together in the past, and show you a couple of things that I've actually put together I really kind of like, and then some things that I'm still working on. So there you go. All done. Thank you very much for watching. Leave comments. Let me know what you think about all this, and I'll see you in the next video. And bye for now.